All right, welcome to class, everybody. My name is Ben Gromiko. I'm from InterNACHI. That's the International Association of Certified Home Inspectors. And this is our class about how to write an inspection report. The class is going to be video recorded, so if you happen to miss it or you have some technical difficulties, don't worry. I'll have it all recorded and you can watch it later. And I'll send you a link to the video recording. So today is June 20th, 2017. And if you need to contact anybody at InterNACHI, we're all at that contact page, nachi.org/contact. And if you wanted to watch the video recording, we are at NACHI TV, NACHI.TV. And today, we are having a class at the House of Horrors at the InterNACHI School at InterNACHI headquarters in Boulder, Colorado for the first time. There's some extra sounds because IO, Inspector Outlet, is our e-commerce store, and they're packing up boxes of inspector tools and goodies and marketing materials. It's going out the door. So don't worry about that. Above my head is ductwork, and we have a few inspectors visiting today. So people are going through the House of Horrors as well. We had over 400 people register for the class from all over the world. Argentina, Australia, Canada, Nigeria, and Poland. And just about every state of the United States registered for today's class. So welcome, everybody. In Boulder, Colorado, we have a school. And this is where we're teaching from today. And I'm standing next to the roof sections at the House of Horrors at InterNACHI headquarters and the InterNACHI school. So if you wanted to check out more of it, what kind of classes we have, the doors are always open. You're always welcome to come by anytime. Take a self-guided tour through the House of Horrors, bring your software or your checklist, and practice performing home inspections on the house. It's an entire house built under our roof in the school, and it's filled with 1,000 defects. So you try to find them. If you want more information, go to that URL, nachi.org/school. And I'd like to play a little video for you. So you have an idea of the house. So that's where we are. And to the side, that's where our roof sections are for the asphalt shingles. And if we walk around the corner, there's the slate section, and we have an overhead electric service with a drip loop or a missing drip loop. That could be a defect. And there's all kinds of roof covering materials of all different kinds. There's wood shingles and shakes and tile. We talk about underlayment. There's our classroom. So we hold about 40 students there. We'll have a class coming up, a 5-day hands-on how to become a home inspector class soon. This is the attic above the garage. And there's the unfinished attic space with the ductwork defects and the structural defects with the trusses. And there's the grate to see the crawl space. Living room has a fireplace. There's our kitchen. There's the utility room, gas-fired furnace. This is the electrical room. We also have a laundry tub in there. Zinsco and Fed Pacific and GE. And there's our bathroom. And then we can take a look at the garage. Walk down, it's a 2-car garage. The garage doors are functional, but they have problems. And there's some extra equipment in the garage and fire hazards and firewall breaks. And there's a crawl space too. So you get on the crawl gear and look for defects in the crawl space. It's all messed up in there. And these are our stucco walls and structural walls. So we talk about how to build a wall, studs. We shoot them with infrared. We make them leak. There's our classroom there. We spray water at the kickout flashing on our stucco walls and see where the water goes. And there's a house there. The deck on the front there has 37 major defects. We're partnered with Inspector Outlet, and Inspector Outlet brings out a bunch of tools for the students to use, and we also give everybody a t-shirt. So let's go back up to the deck for the students, and this is where we're having class today, at my little desk there. And we're going to go over a few things. We're going to go over the standards of practice. We're going to talk about what is a home inspection report. I'm sure you know. And we have 4 different types of defects. We'll go over some definitions. They're optional for you to use. Talk about which software to use. Mobile software, you may know I'm a fan of because it allows you to write the inspection report as you're performing an inspection. And it also helps you not only speed up your process, but reduces the amount of mistakes that you could possibly make. I used to write the inspection report at the end of the inspection in the evening, after dinner, putting the kids to bed. And then you kind of forget what you saw 8 hours prior. When you have a mobile device, like this iPhone, you can write the inspection report as you go, and you can follow your guide as you go as well, so you don't miss anything. And it also speeds up your inspection process. There's 3 parts of a home inspection narrative, or the paragraph that you write. And we're going to conduct a roof inspection and write an inspection on this roof here. But first, let's take a poll. So I like to keep you engaged. So I hope you can see that. But the question is a home inspector required to find all of the defects in a house? All right, getting a lot of responses. And you guys, yep, Lori, you're right. But let's keep going, keep voting, keep voting. The poll's in progress still. 75% of you have voted, coming up to 80, almost all of you have voted. Okay, let's see the answer. And yeah, so a home inspector is not required to find all the defects in a house, which actually is surprising to many home buyers. Let's talk about that later, about finding defects. Actually, you're only supposed to report upon material defects, and that material defect is defined in the standards of practice. And it's a particular type of defect, and it's the most important defect. But if you think you have to find all the defects in a house, you're wrong, right? What you have to do is report upon all the defects that you both observe and deem to be material in nature. So let's start with the standards of practice. Oh, and there's 3 things I'd like you to think about when learning how to write a good inspection report. It's inspect, describe, and report. The standards of practice uses those terms a lot, those 3 terms: inspect, describe, and report. Inspect means what do you inspect? Well, you have to inspect this, you have to inspect that. You're not required to inspect this. That's inspect. Describing is describing what you're inspecting. I'm inspecting a 3-tab shingle, this is a ridge. And reporting upon things that are our problems, defects, that need correction and further evaluation. So let's go to the standards of practice. This is the foundation upon which you can build your inspection process, as well as your home inspection report. And it's broken up into sections. First section here in the standards of practice is roof. So if you go to roof, it says, inspectors shall inspect. It also says, inspectors shall describe. It also says, inspectors shall report. So inspect, describe, report is all throughout every section of the standards of practice. Inspect, describe, report. And so should your inspection report. Your inspection process as well should reflect the standards of practice. The inspection process, how you inspect, should be based upon what you're required to do in the standards of practice. And you're required to inspect, describe, and report upon the house, right? So let's go up here, and it says what a material defect is, most important defect. And a material defect, I've gone over a little bit, is something really serious with the house that has an adverse impact on the value of the house or poses an unreasonable risk to people in the house. A deck that has a collapse that's imminent, right? It's going to fall because the deck flashing is missing and there's rot and the ledger board isn't even attached and that deck is just about to collapse. So you don't want anybody to walk on it and you want to put it in your report as a material defect. This is something I observed and deemed to be material, and that should be in your inspection report as well. And your inspection report is defined as something a report shall identify in written format defects with particular systems and component defined by the standards of practice that are both observed and deemed to be material by you. So you don't have to find every defect, report upon every defect. It's those defects that are both observed. If you didn't see it, you can't report on it. So both observed and deemed to be very serious material. So think about those three things: inspect, describe, and report. There's a definition of a home inspection report. We already went over that. So again, the standards of practice guides you through your inspection process, what you observe, what you're required to check and take a look at. And your observations are communicated in your inspection report. So those are the dots that you need to connect. The standards of practice is the basis upon your inspection process, and your inspection process is then actually just communicated in written format in your inspection report. So they're all connected, and we call it coherence. It's an interconnection between all of those components in a logical sequence or order, so that when you are performing an inspection based upon the standards of practice, that is reflected in your inspection report. And so when someone's looking at your inspection report, they reflect back on how you took them through the house. It's a reflection of that, right? And it's also based upon the standards, which is actually the foundation. It's the absolute minimum of how you perform an inspection. So you've got the standards, which guides your inspection process, which is communicated in your inspection report. And then there's the fourth dot to connect, which is a marketing piece. It kind of sums it all up. Provides you a chance to give your client a lot more information than your inspection report can, right? So in this home maintenance book of InterNACHI's, now that you've had a home inspection, it kind of sets the expectation that you've done your job, you performed an inspection, written report, now it's their time to take over the home maintenance of the house. And each section of this home maintenance book reflects the standards of practice. So it's all coherence. It all goes together. So I would say that's one way to write your inspection report, with coherence. Make sure everything you do, starting with the standards of practice, is a mirror image of each other, right? So there are 4 types of defects, and we've defined them, but you don't have to use these definitions. We just thought it would be helpful for you to think about how to describe certain things that you have seen, observed in your inspection. And the first one is defined by the standards of practice. It's a material defect. So a material defect is a specific issue with a system or component of a home that may have a significant adverse impact on the value of the property or poses an unreasonable risk. And the example is that missing ledger flashing on the deck with an imminent collapse. A major defect is a condition of a system or component that renders it non-working, non-performing, not functioning, or unsafe, and it requires a professional contractor to further evaluate and correct. A minor defect is the same kind of problem, but a homeowner may be able to fix it. And an example would be a broken GFCI. There's wiring for a home, maybe a thermostat, replacing the old manual thermostat with a programmable one. You don't really need a contractor for that. You could do it yourself, low voltage wiring, no one's gonna get hurt. But a major defect would be a hole in the roof, missing shingles. You need a contractor to come in and fix that problem. So one of the things you want to do in your inspection is inspect and then describe the condition and also communicate the severity of the problem. So material defect, that's number one. That's going to hurt somebody. The major defect needs to be corrected by a contractor. The minor defect could be corrected by a contractor or a homeowner, and a cosmetic issue is really a superficial flaw. Doesn't need correction, but you may want to note it. An example would be a carpet stain. So those are 4 types of defects you may want to use in your inspection report. It's not required. Now, a report narrative is that paragraph or a group of sentences or sentence or a group of sentences underneath or describing that thing which you observed, that you inspected, identified, described, maybe even recommended correction and further evaluation of. And there's 3 parts of a narrative. First part is to inspect it. You said, is to describe that you inspected it. So you want to use past tense, by the way. And we'll go over that in just a second. So the first part of that narrative would be, I did this. I inspected it from this area, from this vantage point. I got on the roof, or I inspected it from the crawl space. You identified that is a gas-fired heating system or a 3-tab shingle roof. So it's all about inspecting. And the second part is identifying that it's a defect or not. So if it's, that actually, can you see that? It's actually a toilet plunger. So that's a defect, right? I described the defect. There's a toilet plunger actually being used as a vent pipe flashing on the roof. And it's a major defect. It's not cosmetic, but it's a major defect. You need a professional contractor to come out and fix that problem, right? I described it with severity. How bad of a problem is it? And that's where those 4 definitions may be useful to you. And the third part is, it needs to be corrected and further evaluated by a professional, or maybe a licensed electrician if you want to get a little bit more specific on who should come out. So 3 parts to a report narrative. And for my inspection, which we'll go over, I have a video of the inspection that I did this morning on this roof using software. I chopped up my system into these sections. So these sections reflect the standards of practice. This is what I'm required to inspect. They're also in my inspection report. I want to have like a chapter heading, roof system, and then sections under that chapter. It's kind of like writing an outline. Your main idea, your title, and then these sections and subsections, right? So I want to talk about the roof access, the roof type, the age. I'm not required to guess the age by the standards of practice, which is a minimum. I exceed the standards of practice. Roof covering, roof flashing, skylight structure, gutters and downspouts, any active leaks, any structural problems, any roof defects. So that's coming up in my, I want that in my inspection process. Now, how do I ensure that I'm following the standards of practice and inspecting everything while inspecting a system? How do I know that I'm going to be able to inspect every component of a roof before I get off my ladder and down to the ground? You got to have something with you. It's either in your head or carry a mobile device with software, and it has those sections in it, right? And it tells you what sections you missed, right? And that's what software does for you. So let's do an inspection. Let's see if I can pull this up for you guys. So let's see if we can do an inspection here. So I'm using Home Inspector Pro, and start off by, let's see if it's open. So we start off with taking pictures, and you can take a picture of your client, actually. So here's my client, and that'll be my cover. And then I hardly type Gromiko. Oops. Benjamin. And you can type in your time. So 9 a.m. to 12 noon. And then I just did a couple of sections here. So I have a roof section, a chimney, an exterior, and a garage section. So I'm going to do the roof. And there's those topics, subtopics or components of the system. So back here is my roof system, right? These are my systems. And here are my components essentially. So I want to talk about the roof access, the roof type. I take a guess on the age. Then there's the roof covering, where all of the inspection takes place. And then the roof flashing, the skylights, the structure, the gutters and downspouts, and any comments about active leaks or roof defects. And I get this from the standards of practice because I want to comment upon how I looked at the roof. I'm not required to walk upon any roof surface. And also I want to describe a few things. So let's start with the roof access. So inside the software, I'm basically checking sentences that I've already written. These are narratives that are already written. I wrote them by hand in the software itself. And the blue little tags are like short notes for me to figure out. So I don't have to read the entire sentence. I just pick out the note. So ground is where I'm going to inspect the roof from. And it says, I inspected the roof covering materials from the ground level. This was an inspection restriction because I could not see everything related to the roof system from the ground. I did my best. Be sure to ask the owner about the roof system, particularly about prior roof leaks. So that's what I want to say, that I inspected the roof from the ground. I also could choose, let's say, spectroscope, which says I used a spectroscope to inspect the roof. And if I wanted to move on, it's basically just tapping to the next section. So I go to roof type. So what kind of roofing shingles do I have? Roof covering materials, asphalt shingles. So asphalt shingle, let's see what it says. The type of roof covering materials that I observed, past tense, can be described, I'm inspecting, describing, and reporting as asphalt shingle. That's good. But maybe I want to take a couple pictures. So here's my picture, and simply I like to take them horizontally. The screen there that's on my screen will stay vertical. So I'll use that photo, and then I can scroll up and take another picture, maybe of my hand. If you know me well, I'm always putting my hand in the picture. And then here's another shot. Those 3 pictures will be in the inspection report at this section. But let's say I wanted to edit this picture. Let's say I want to put some text on the picture itself. I'm not a great fan of that because it takes a lot of time to do that, but I'll show you how to do it. Let's see. I like a black background, white text. I inspected the asphalt shingle materials, period. They are 3-tab shingles, period. And I want to add that text to the picture. And there it is. So I've got some text right on the image itself, and I can save it. So that first image has text on it, but let's say I want to add a caption to it as well. And these are the shingle materials that are on the front of the house. There you go. And it's as easy as that. So if you wanted to add a photo to a particular section and then add descriptions to that photo, you can easily do that. Let's say I'm going now to estimated age. They're a few years old. Roof covering. Well, I want to say that I inspected the roof. So let's see what that is. I inspected the roof covering materials. Very simple statement. Or you could say I didn't inspect the roof covering materials. I have 2 layers, so I'm going to add that as a potential defect there. And then I have many defects that I observed. I have a lifted nail and some poor installation, right? And some weathering. There's granules in the gutter, dry watermarks. I actually have those. Now let's add some photos. Let's see how fast I can take them here. I want to use that photo. Oh, big thumbs. Use that photo. And I want to take this one here because there's a missing shingle here. Use that photo and then lift this up. Take that photo. Let's say this photo doesn't really have a good description about what I'm looking at. So what I can do is I can also comment with arrows. So I'm easily drawing arrows, as you can see with my finger right there, and I can save it, and I'm done. I really don't use a whole lot of arrows because I usually put my hand and finger right in there. Now, if I wanted to do a video, I can also do that. But let's say I'm inspecting, and I'm not going to use my software quite yet. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to snap as fast as I can, let's say 10 photos. And I'll show you how to add them in the report. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and the last one will be a video. And I'm just going to pan across like this. Like that. Hey, what's up? Oh, okay. And now I'm going to add those pictures in the report. So with Home Inspector Pro, let's say they were all under the roof flashing. I'm going to take a picture like that. And then I can actually search for those pictures. I'm going to add them all in with simple clicks of the button. So let's go here. I'm going to scroll down. And so there's the 10 photos I took in the video. So I'm just going to choose them 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And the video is going to take a few seconds for my iPhoto to engage, but I can choose it in about a minute it'll take. Boom. So all of them were just added to that section as fast as that. So I added 9 photographs to this section of my report with just a few seconds. So you can, with this software, you can add photos as you go, or you can take a bunch of photos with your device and then add them into the report at a particular section with simply a click of a button. It's pretty easy. Again, if I wanted to add arrows, I could. If I wanted to add some text underneath this photo, this is a picture of a disconnected roof vent on the roof. I could do that. I haven't typed anything yet. All I've used are my fingers. Skylight. So inspect, describe, report. So I inspected the skylight. I have some comments about how it's not accessible. I have cracked glass, actually, and a fastener problem. So let's take a picture of that. I have cracked glass. And let's see, a fastener problem. How about this one? A lot of students miss that. What else do I have? Gutters and downspouts. I inspected the gutters. I can describe them, but I also have a missing downspout. And now this one, since it's a downspout, I'm going to take it vertically, so the photo is now vertical in my inspection report. And let's see, let's just cancel that. Let's get back to active leak. Do I have any active leaks? No active leaks. And any roof defects? Well, here's those definitions. So here's material defect, major defect, minor defect, or cosmetic defect. So let's say I have a material defect. If I have a material defect, I should really describe it. And here it is. I observed indications of a material defect, which is a specific issue with a system or component of a property that may have a significant adverse impact on the value of the property or poses unreasonable risks. Correction and further evaluation by a professional contractor is recommended. So I'm going to put that there, and I'm going to take a picture just to make sure that that picture's in there. And I'm even going to tag it underneath the picture. This is a material defect. Oh, so I need to edit very quickly. This is a material defect. So that is me inspecting the roof with this software. Now I want to show you what it looks like. And so I'm going to sync it, and I'm going to upload it to the cloud. There's me. Oh, wait, I didn't take any video, did I? So let me disconnect this here, because my AirPlay tends to crash when I take a video. So I'm going to go to roof covering, and I am going to take a video. So I click the video button, and here's the video. You see that? Oh, let's see. Focus, yeah. So I'm going to do a video. So I'm doing the video of the roof flashing area or roof covering problem. And I'll just say we have a bunch of shingles that blew off the roof. Right? I'm going to use that video. I'm also going to use another video. Let's see, I do, and that one wasn't good. I can actually delete that video. Yep, I'll do another video. So these are 3-tab shingles, and they're not properly fastened. That's a defect right there, and that's on the front of the house. I'm also going to do another video of me. And that was your home inspection and on Big Ben Inspections from Boulder, Colorado. Bye. Now that video is going to be put into my inspection report, and I'll show you what that looks like. Because you may be asking, how does a video show up in a PDF? Well, I'll show you. So I'm done with that inspection, and I'm going to upload this inspection. And if I just fast forward, I can show you after you upload what that looks like. So you upload the report to the cloud, and let's see if I can get it for you. I get an email as soon as you upload it. Let's see if I can bring it over. So Home Inspector Pro gives you an email. You click the email, and now the report is in the cloud. And you want your report in the cloud or PDF form, but I like it in the cloud because video. I can see video being used in inspection reports coming up all the time. It's going to be video-based, really, reports. And so remember that front photo of myself? That's my client. Here's the second page, which is a summary of all the defects that I inspected and reported, and they're all in red. And I like this because it tells you what page the defect is on and under what section. So it's really nice. Here's the roof section. Here's a disclaimer. A lot of people ask me, what do I say under each section? So here's mine. Feel free to use it if you'd like. It says, we are not professionals. We are not roofing professionals. Feel free to hire one before closing. As home inspectors, we do our best to inspect the roof covering materials within the short time that is allotted to us. We inspect the roof covering materials, gutters, downspouts, yada, yada. We're not required to inspect these things. This is not an exhaustive inspection of every installation detail of the roof system according to manufacturing specifications or construction codes. It's virtually impossible to detect a leak except as it is occurring or by specific roof tests, which are beyond the scope of a home inspection. And ask the seller for more information about the roof performance, especially prior roof leaks. So here's a couple of the narratives. I don't know if you remember, but I chose 2 narratives in my inspection report using a mobile device, 2 sentences. I inspected the roof from the ground, and I used a spectroscope, and here they are here. And then I took a few pictures. Remember, I added text to the picture. There it is there. I also added a caption under that one photo, and I estimate the age. So this is the online version of the report, and I like it that your client will receive, and I like it because defects really jump out. Anything in red is bad, and those are the defect narratives. And here are all of my pictures that I took. Remember, a few were horizontal, most of them were horizontal, a couple were vertical, and here's that video. So your client can watch the video that you took during the inspection. Here's a couple other videos that I took. I mean, if I was doing inspections now, I would be using a ton of video. I'd be shooting probably most of the inspection with video, writing the narratives as fast as I can, and adding those videos to the inspection report. That was your home inspection? Love the pictures. The pictures look great. And there's my arrows there, fastener problem. The skylight glass is missing. There's the downspout. Remember, it's a vertical picture. So that's the inspection report that's available on the cloud service, which is where I would put all of my inspection reports, because I would nowadays, I did a lot of video way back when and made a difference in my market, distinguished myself with that type of brand. But I think video would be a great way to distinguish yourself in your market. And now you can have videos embedded in your inspection reports when you upload them to the cloud, and allow your client to download that electronic report with embedded video. So that wasn't that bad. I kind of like that because I'm done with the inspection report. Maybe my competitors tonight will be writing their reports at night, staying up late, being all groggy the next morning. So that's a competitive advantage that I would have over my competition, because I invested a few more dollars so that I can write inspection reports as I'm inspecting. And I can take pictures and add them to the report as I'm inspecting, and a video as well. And I help ensure that I don't make mistakes because I'm following the standards of practice, which is reflected on the checklist that I'm following while performing an inspection. So I can't miss anything because I'm using a checklist in my hand. And you can use an iPad as well, or a tablet, any mobile device. And then the reports are really great because they're robust with a lot of pictures, because it's so easy to add a ton of pictures. They're coherent with the standards of practice and my inspection process and my home maintenance book, because it's following the standards of practice as a foundation, and it's guiding your software, helps you guide your inspection process and produce a report that is similar. So your client has a really great experience. There's nothing very different. As everything is just about the same. They have the same feeling. They read your home maintenance book, and it's written and grouped in sections just like your home inspection report. And your home inspection report communicated your inspection process that they went through the house with you, and it's based upon the standards of practice. So which software to use? There are a bunch of software out there. I like the ones that where InterNACHI members get discounts. I always recommend those. I was using Home Inspector Pro today, and it's a great software. If you wanted to find some software at a discount, you go to this URL, nachi.org/everything, and go to step 11. We'll go there now. This is 15 steps to be successful at being a home inspector. Step 1 is join InterNACHI, because after you join InterNACHI, a whole world of opportunity opens up to you. Then you get trained and certified. But if you scroll down to step 11, we have a link here to Inspector Outlet, our e-commerce partner. And they have software from all the vendors in the world who provide exclusive discounts to InterNACHI members. And they are significant, so I'd go there. And then there's home inspection report checklists. There's a link to some checklists that you would be interested, might be interested in. Here's a basic InterNACHI home inspection checklist at the top. And then there's pool and spa checklist, radon mitigation inspection checklist, wood destroying organism inspection checklist, electrical inspection. It just goes on, even pet safety. And these checklists are important because you can add them to your software template and use them on your device while performing an inspection. So you don't really have to think. It's all right there on your checklist on your software device. You can't go off on a tangent and get lost. You're always focused on the standard or the guide or the template or the checklist that you use. So I highly recommend going mobile. We also have some inspection report samples from inspectors and members of InterNACHI. There's a report writing course on defect recognition and how would you inspect that defect if you came across it during your inspection. And there's classes about performing home inspections and writing reports. There's sample narratives, free narratives, just to get you going on how to write your narratives in your inspection reports provided by InterNACHI's Kenton Shepard. We have a report library of narratives that are available. We have a free software for the home energy score. We have software for that. We have illustrations at our gallery to put in your inspection report. So if you want to have a nice image of, let's see. How about chimney height clearance? So we have an illustration for that. You can grab that illustration if you're a member, stick it right in the inspection report. Don't worry about copyright issues. If you're a member of InterNACHI, you have thousands of colorful, high-res illustrations to make to put icing on the cake, to make your inspection report look really good. And then there's an article about using the phrase "no visible evidence." You really shouldn't say there was no visible evidence of blank in your inspection report. We recommend using instead the phrase in this format, "I did not observe any indications of," and then insert your defect, "during my inspection." This was an article written by InterNACHI's legal counsel, Mark Cohen, helping you write your narratives to help reduce liability so that you can write your narratives in plain English so that everyone clearly understands what you're saying. We also have advice about writing your inspection reports in the past tense so that it's clear to someone reading your inspection report later, long after you performed the inspection, that inspection report was during the time of the inspection in the past. And things change after you perform an inspection and write an inspection report. If your report is in present tense, it somewhat conveys to the reader, regardless of time, that you are commenting upon the house as it exists today, during the reading of the inspection report. So it's really good to, it's a good practice to write your inspection reports using past tense. And there's 3 functions of a report narrative. And that's all in step 11 of this URL at nachi.org/everything. All right, are there any questions? We don't have a whole lot of questions. How risky is it to estimate the age of the roofing materials? Right, so it's about exceeding the standards of practice, really. It's the question about exceeding the standards of practice. Because I estimate the age of the large systems, the roof, HVAC, and the hot water source. And I do that because I think my clients just want that information. It's not required of a home inspector to do that according to the standards of practice. It's actually specifically stated that I'm not required to do that. But remember, the standards of practice is an absolute minimum for every home inspector. And I exceed the standards of practice for every client. So you have to be comfortable with it or not. And I phrase my estimates so that I feel like I'm protected in what I say and everything I do. As a member of InterNACHI, can I use your pics in my report? Right, you have to be a member of InterNACHI to use the materials that are freely provided to InterNACHI members. And you can join InterNACHI for $49 a month or $499 a year. All right, so that was our course, our core class on how to write an inspection report. Thank you very much. My name is Ben Gromyko. I'm from InterNACHI. That's the International Association of Certified Home Inspectors. Hope you enjoyed yourselves. And we're at nachi.tv for the video recording of this class and registration for upcoming classes. And all the classes are free and online, and anyone can attend. So I'll see you next time. Bye, everybody.